Love and peace to you. This is a verbal discourse on our Welt Ethos. My name is Peter Johansson Osisi, and I work with our Sona Ashram. And this is an introduction to teachings from Christianity regarding our fourth principle within our Welt Ethos of Haya, modesty, within the context of sexual ethics. So within Christianity, within the Gospels of Christianity, there is the narrative of Jesus. There's the example of Jesus. Jesus lives the life of an ascetic and lives a life of celibacy. And so there are teachings to be gleaned simply from that example. And so that stands as it is. Amidst that, Jesus also provides different teachings regarding the institution of marriage and family, and it's somewhat challenging, actually. In some ways, in very strong ways, Jesus very explicitly and directly affirms marriage between a man and a woman, and the institution of marriage and family. And in some ways, Jesus challenges this and advocates celibacy, the abstinence from marriage and from sexual intercourse itself, categorically. And so those are essentially the two renderings that can be gleaned from Jesus' example and Jesus' teachings. There is a point when Jesus is confronted by contemporary leaders regarding the implications of marriage beyond life. What is the nature of the relationship between a man and a woman after life? And so the presumption being that a man and a woman who are married in this temporal life, being also married in the afterlife, in heaven, the sovereignty of God. And so Jesus provides a doctrine response that communicates that within that experience of the afterlife, there being an absence of such an experience of marriage or temporality, that there is an increasingly transcendent existence beyond such types of interaction and ties. It's a higher nature, and so this is shared within the Gospel of Mark 12:24-25. 12, verse 24 through 25. Jesus said to them, Is not this why you are wrong, that you know neither the Scriptures nor the power of God? For when they rise from the dead, they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are like angels in heaven. That is the Gospel of Mark 12:24-25. So, drawing from that, we can also draw from additional teaching that Jesus provides about the sovereignty of God being at hand, and manifesting heaven on earth, and thus, with this consideration of being like angels in heaven, the notion of being like angels on earth, and that indeed coincides with Jesus's practice of celibacy, and so. Jesus abstains from explicitly stating or commanding celibacy, or even admonishing marriage in and of itself. But he makes allusions to such. Paradoxically, in another passage, Jesus actually explicitly, directly, clearly affirms the institution of marriage. And then when his disciples ask him further about the teaching that he provides, he essentially makes the reference to he who has ears to hear. In other words, he who has the ability to perceive the teaching, that there's a higher teaching, and that involves actually avoiding marriage and practicing celibacy. so that is room for discussion. That is room for dialogue. But this is the passage that shares this teaching. It's the Gospel of Matthew 19:3-12, chapter 19, verse 3 through 12. And Pharisees came up to him and tested him by asking, "Is it lawful to divorce one's wife for any cause?" He answered, "Have you not read that God, who made them from the beginning, made them male and female, and said, 'For this reason a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh'? So they are no longer two, but one flesh. What therefore God has joined together, let not man put asunder." They said to him, "Why then did Moshe command one to give a certificate of divorce and to put her away?" He said to them, "For your hardness of heart Moshe allowed you to divorce your wives, but from the beginning it was not so. And I say to you, whoever divorces his wife, except for unchastity, and marries another, commits adultery." The disciples said to him, "If such is the case of a man with his wife, it is not expedient to marry." But he said to them, "Not all men can receive the same, but only those to whom it is given. For there are eunuchs who have been so from birth, and there are eunuchs who have been made eunuchs by men, and there are eunuchs who have made themselves eunuchs for the sake of the sovereignty of heaven. He who is able to receive this, let him receive it." And again, that is Matthew 19:3-12, Matthew 19, verse 3 through 12. Again, Jesus explicitly affirms the institution of marriage, and indeed he actually admonishes the practice of divorce. He advocates for the sanctity of marriage, the importance and the value of marriage. But he continues on to describe a doctrine of celibacy, essentially, for he who has ears to hear. So those are some considerations. Those are some teachings from the Gospels of Christianity regarding the fourth principle of our Welt Ethos, Haya, modesty, within the context of sexual ethics. Amor et pax.